everyone. Here we go with the last episode of the Artelize Podcast, last episode of the year. Before we start another amazing year, I'm super thrilled to have my two other co-founders, Sune Hjerrild and Jan Pilgaard Carlsen. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you for Paola.
Having me. Guys, as in the tradition of the Artelize Podcast, we start off with a fun fact that you would like to share with our audience so that they get, to know you a little bit better. So maybe Sune, you want to start?
Well, yeah. I think it's very visible on me, actually, that it's been a tough year with a lot of work. I think if I'm looking at pictures of me from back in the beginning of the year, I wasn't as gray in the top as I am now. But yeah, for sure, it's been a very busy and very exciting year that is probably taking its toll. So, but I'm really excited to be here today and to talk about the year that has gone by.
We need to be careful because we have our official pictures. We get older and those pictures stay younger than us. So maybe I will put some filters in this episode to help.
That would be nice.
What about you, Jan?
Yeah, I it's actually a little bit in the same topic, but just taken from a different angle. I have here, I want to take it to the center so everybody can see it. This is a Danish calendar candle. I'm not sure it exists in other countries. I have no idea. It's something invented 80 years ago when people started putting dots on a candle to follow time. And as you can see, it goes all the way to 24 down there. That's Christmas Eve here in Denmark. And as you maybe can also see, it's only at the 3rd now. And is it the 12th? Yeah, that's just... So that's typical with these candles. But also when you're running a startup and burning your candle in both ends, you have no time to burn a 3rd candle in the right way or something like that. So we're behind, but it's very beautiful. Normally then at Christmas Eve, it just hits 24, because then there's holiday time and you have time to let it burn, and of course it's the last thing we are allowed to have that emits carbon dioxide, I guess, but it's fine. So I allow myself to do that.
But that is amazing. And it actually brings me beautifully into our first topic of this podcast. And so, guys, we come from a very peculiar background. We're from the performing arts ourselves. So, Sune, you're a performer, tenor. I'm a mezzo-soprano. And Jan, you're a musicologist. Yeah, disrupting what we do. I know. Criticizing and saying, no, that's not philological. But... what's very interesting, I would say, is this combination of our background together with the fact that we run a startup and we're all about burning rate and results and hard work and working probably during Christmas. No, maybe not. But anyway, that can definitely happen. It has happened. And so I would like to start with Sune. It has been a year now that we have really taken this to the next level. And we started with our first online event, the panel Rethinking Audience Engagement in January. But it would be nice to hear what you recall. We all had the same experience. Probably everyone has a different angle. So I would like you to share what you remember of this journey from then to today.
Yeah, I used to say that a startup life is like the dog life. It says 1 year is like 7 years for a dog, and it's exactly the same for us, for everyone working in a startup. And it's so true for us too. Exactly 1 year ago, we were preparing a new webinar about the rethinking audience engagement. And we reached out to some important people back then to be part of that panel. Aubrey Bergauer is one of them. And we got a lot of inspiration, I would say, from that whole experience, from both talking to all those different arts organizations. There were over 300 arts organizations that signed up for that particular webinar. And we got so many exciting discussions and communication out of that of course now was leading the way for our amazing audience retention dashboard. And it went so fast. That's again from idea sometimes to action. We really put the back burner on sometimes, and here we are 1 year later having a really cool tool if you want to make sure your audience come back, both in terms of how to segment your different user groups, to communication, how AI is now a pivotal part of the whole work, how it's both analyzing your audience data, but also helping you to send out the right communication to the right people, on both on first timers, on subscribers and donors. It's giving the team superpowers, and it's so inspiring for us to see every day how it's helping our clients evolve and get out step by step of this crisis that many of us has been in since the COVID-19 crisis. It's so great to see that there are actually ways to get out of this, and that technology is such an amazing power tool that we can use to enhance these very lean teams. We know that budgets is a big issue out there, and that they can afford to hire more people, even though they are stressed out and stressed thin, with all the tasks. So it's really amazing to see how this is helping out there.
Maybe I can
Absolutely.
add,
And
Paola,
go ahead.
just that,
Yes.
because Sune mentioned AI, and our company was born an AI company, but we actually built our first tooling, to gather events. We have this platform that has events across the US and UK mainly now, all events happening in performing arts. But we started out building machine learning models, and I remember, Paola, you were part of the actual work of annotating events. This is an artist. This is, that took forever. Oh my God, yes. And we used all kinds of system, and the opera fish, I think we will let that stay internal. People can read our memoirs and learn about the opera fish later. But but my main point is that we started out with AI before LLMs, OpenAI, ChatGPT, Gemini, all those things came by. And then LLMs came and made our lives a lot easier, but also more challenging, because we need to reach goal faster now. AI simply accelerates everything. And what we have seen, I think, just in the year we have worked with this new product, Sune talked about our audience retention dashboard, the adoption willingness of AI tooling has increased tenfold with the performing arts. We did hear people say, "Ooh, I will have humans do the work in my organization before." Now we actually hear them ask, can the AI do all the work? We have some leads and customers who dream of when we just automate the whole business side. So they can, like Aubrey Bergauer says, run it like a business, but focus on the art. That's actually interesting, and we will be getting there. AI helps us get there fast. So I think during 2025, we'll be delivering the first fully automated audience retention systems that actually just elevate you into the cockpit instead of sitting and grinding, massaging spreadsheets and importing, exporting, all that stuff. Yeah. So a big movement is in the performing arts also now, I believe.
Absolutely. You're so right about, I also remember this feedback from our customers, and there was this first initial shock about implementing AI. But then, of course, it's like technology, right? It's like, I remember before I got my first mobile phone, I waited until I was, I think, 32. And then once I got it, it was, oh my God, I didn't know I could do all the things, right? You mentioned something, Jan, that the pace, so the speed of which everything is changing now, it has nothing to do. I mean, we have been in this business trying to match technology with the processes since a while now, decades, we can say, right? The gray hair, that's why. But now I think this speed is unprecedented, and this is, as Suna was saying, bringing up a new challenge for us to try to really develop super fast. And so, of course, this last year was a bit of a roller coaster because it was super exciting. We found out about so many things. We knew that audience was a hot topic, right? Because the decline of the audiences started before the pandemic. But definitely after the pandemic, everything came to the surface like boom, right there. And sort of unavoidable.
A little bit.
But no, I just want to say that we did take on a great challenge because that took a lot of courage, especially knowing the resistance of and the difficulties of the small budgets and stuff that the performing arts industry has in terms of adopting technology. So maybe you guys also want to elaborate on that and what trends you have seen from last January to now, and what people and encounters have really made you understood that, okay, we're doing the right thing here and things are changing.
Absolutely. I think a very big change, as you also mentioned, is the whole attitude towards using AI as a tool. We had many comments in the beginning, like we use humans here, not machines, and so on like that, which is not something that we meet anymore. I would say most people have adopted that new technology, especially in the marketing department. And I think, yeah, basically, it's a tool that if you don't use it, it will not replace humans. But if you don't use it, you will be replaced. I think that's how it is. And I also feel that one of the whole talk about scarcity mindset that we also see now is really getting on the forefront of many, of the minds and hearts of the industry, that scarcity mindset will not get us out of this crisis if we are not willing to invest in the future. If the future will not happen for us. There are so many scary, and I don't want this to be a scaremongering show here, but there are some scary, prospects in the future, where some of the numbers show that in 7 years, for some of our colleagues out there, especially in the classical department, in terms of opera and classical music, ballet, and so on, that we might see half of the audience remaining in 7 years, which will be catastrophic. I mean, both in terms of funding, in terms of also even here in Europe, state funding. If we have half the audience we have today, what will happen to that funding? So we need to do something. It's not tomorrow. It's not in 6 months. It's now. We need to do something. And that's the message I want to get across today. If anything, it is embrace the future, but embrace also this opportunity to do something before it's too late.
Yes, I couldn't be more in agreement, obviously. And yes, I believe it is time to overcome all these fears, also fears of changes, because as you were saying, the numbers are scary, but what it's available there and the potential, and this was also mentioned in the previous episode with Ruth Hart, the potential is huge. So we have the possibility to get out of this situation with a little bit of courage and the help of people like Artelize, or Aubrey Bergauer, or Ruth Hart. These people are there for you. This is going to be possible. I don't think I'm overshooting by saying we are leading the way, and we're happy to do so. We have been putting so much work in it, analyzing how things are happening, what is happening in the United States and also in Europe, and comparing trends and stuff. And we can see that there are common traits also in terms of scarcity of resources. So we're all in the same boat, and it's time to come together and to help each other. And you have also, I'm sure you have not just jokes, but also incredible insights to share with us.
No, I unfortunately have only brought jokes.
You're
Now
run
I'm
out.
coming to number 3 now. No, but no, I also have some serious stuff. But yes, I think we should start by cheering on the fact that there are lots of audiences out there and show our nice cups here. No, we have mentioned it too on previous episode. Others have mentioned it. If you work in a customer-centric way and analyze why there are people who love it and that come again and again, then you can replicate those people with others. You know, it is simply a wrong assumption, and that can come from that scarcity mindset and from just doing what you normally do. Yes, then you will just see dropping numbers and, oh, let's now reduce the marketing department to 1 person because we have too few. Yeah, let's reduce the marketing budget. No more money for development. Then we don't get donors, I guess. But it simply won't help. You know, that's just how there's no discussion. That will not help. So, and I want to mention, one of our customer, Bayfill, who have been working with since the beginning. Actually, they were one of our first 10 customers on this product. They are very ambitious. They're running an orchestra in a different way, and they're even challenging the non-profit model, because I think it's not a problem to be a non-profit, but the whole model of the non-profit actually causes challenges also for adopting software, because the decision process are just, I would say, they are too rigid. What we do in this startup, we just looked at it the other day. We have 30 plus SaaS tools running. Some of them cost us $10 a month. Some cost $1,000. It's not something we sat and discussed in a board meeting. We of course made a business decision. It's not like just buying spray. We as a startup, you have to be very careful with your cash, keep it dry as long as you can. But if only non-profits would adopt a little bit of the same nimbleness in decision making, that would simply, because as Sune said, it doesn't help to, let's look at it next year. Then you lost 10% more of your audience, and then you get into this bad vicious loop there, or spiral. So yeah, it's there's something, but it can be changed. The board can just decide we will change it. We will not have to approve every single little thing. We'll put down $1,000 a month for marketing to make their own decisions, etc. It's still a fraction of the money they're spending on salaries, etc. It's yeah, I think it's a big challenge, but I think it's moving in a direction also because it doesn't work. But yeah, that's
Yeah, and Jan,
interesting.
I from you actually, since you mentioned this extremely important point, because it really segue beautifully with all the previous episodes also we had about fear of change, long decisional process, cumbersome administration in terms of advancing this whole machine, right? That is an arts organization. And you've made a research based on our customers' data about the lifetime value of a customer and how this would repay so easily the little investment, for example, that the Artelize dashboard, but also other things. I mentioned the Artelize dashboard because we specifically, I know the intent we had by bringing it to the market was not to disrupt the finance of the arts organization. At the contrary, to make it all very affordable, because technology allow you to do that now. It really, so it's not cheap because it's not worth anything. It's worth a lot. This is the upper side of technology. It brings the cost down, and this customer value, being able to repay those small investments that are so key in the advancement of an arts organization, I think are worth a little bit more elaboration. And I know you have a slide. We're not going to show
No,
this.
we're not gonna show slides. Then the coziness will go away.
Exactly. So no, we keep it super cozy, but we
Yes,
want to mention that.
but no, and we analyzed customer data without, and just mentioning they were anonymized probably before we analyzed them. We take privacy very seriously because that's part of why we can do what we do, because privacy is built into all of our models. But that set aside, we were able to see from customers not related to using our solution. It's just a fact that if you convert a first comer into a multi-ticket buyer, and what does that mean? It means they come back the next time, maybe 8 months later, maybe 13 months later, does not matter. Then you 7x, you mean the value for your arts organization got to be 7 times higher. And our data showed a first time was normally worth $200. And it's because it's not just the first ticket they buy. Today, some of them also come back already, and some of them even become donors. But if you get them to come back, it's $1,500 value of them. And that's actually money you put in the bank to invest in the future. That can be invested in even bigger shows, bigger venues, more technology, bigger staff, Still stay lean, of course, but there's and maybe this, when you're in a scarcity mindset, you don't make investment decisions like that. You make decisions on what should we cut this year, and that's totally different. And you don't look at paybacks. That 7x value is super interesting to focus on. And we made a tool so you can 7x without also sitting and sweating over spreadsheets all day long, because you can actually do it today. You can just pull out spreadsheets and massage them till you have burned your
Get
light
blue
in
in the
both.
face.
And some can, some won't. It's also a skill set to do that kind of job. It's actually not that simple, but you can do it. We just automated it, so it takes 45 seconds instead of a month. That's actually a crazy. Is that 10,000x? I think so. The first product ever to do 10,000x.
Here we are. Yeah, but I would like to switch a little bit. I mean, we're still in the same realm of topics, but from another angle. So, Sune, you have been the forefront in terms of representing Artelize at public events, and you gave different speeches. And I've witnessed firsthand how people reacted to what you were saying. And so, just to say that it made a lot of sense to a lot of people, even though perhaps they weren't already doing that. So
Mm.
what is your opinion about this gap? So people getting excited, finally getting this, but then what does it take for them to execute that? What do you think it's so complex, and what is your experience?
Yeah, well, first of all, yes, it's been extremely exciting to meet people out there and see their reactions. And yeah, sometimes we were a little surprised. Why is there not a long queue outside our booth here now at this conference when people are so overwhelmingly positive? And I think actually the queuing stops because they know that they can't just go over and buy it. They don't have the budget for it. They have to go to their board. There's so many decision makers that has to go get into that process. So it's a long process, and they are already stressed out. And once they decide to do something about this, they have to use a lot of time and energy on this instead of using it on just getting by. One of my favorite cartoons is this, I call it the square wheel cart, where we see some poor guys trying to get this cart up the hill with these square wheels, and they're trying to get it through the mud there. And then there's this little guy in the background with this round wheel saying, hey, why don't you change to this one? And they say, no, we don't have time to change the wheel because we are so busy with this, getting this cart up the hill. And that's exactly what I experience out there. That every time we call, not every time, hopefully not, or luckily not, but very often we don't have time. We have so many things on our plate. We blah blah blah, all kinds of excuses, and it's very natural, of course, because that's the way these organizations are run. But at the same time, yes, people know it's about time. We were just in London a few months back at a conference about the future of opera by Lord Laylord had made this huge conference. And he's really, you can say he's really one of these passionate people. He's 82 years old, as far as I know. And he made a foundation to support opera and innovation in opera. And it was one of the big, I must say, both pleasantly surprises, and also I was really, really happy to see his reaction, because once he heard about what we were doing, he constantly said, wow, did you already do that? Is that already invented? Do you already have a whole platform? And the more I talked, the more fiery he got. And then in the end, this 82-year-old guy, he just ran around fetching people to come to our booth and to talk to me. And, it was really amazing to see. I mean, this kind of conversations that you get out of that, of course, are so easy and so straightforward compared to the cold calling that we also do, of course. So I love going to conferences, obviously.
Yes, as you say, the conferences are a great opportunity to meet people in person. I remember with Jan also, we had the opportunity to see donors in action dancing, right? I mean, you also get to see these kind of things at the after party. So, but jokes aside, really, as you were saying, getting the opportunity to talk directly with the people that are trying to get their job done, and to hear about their struggle and how they would love, you can really tell that they would love to have a completely different experience, which is enjoyable. So I am taking care of the audience, but I am enjoying it because I can see clearly what's happening. So I'm not in the dark anymore. I know that I have some segments I need to treat in a different way with a bespoke communication. And I just know that I have the tools. So I have the confidence. That's why often we say our solution is to bring a stress-free environment for these people to finally really truly enjoy what is the core, which is what happens on stage, obviously. But if you don't take care of all the other things, unfortunately, especially now with this new trend in terms of the audience, and Jan, you probably remember that too. We heard that also in our recent conferences, that the audience is not any longer how it used to be, generational wise. So the new generation might not have the knowledge and education that the previous audience, in particular previous pre-pandemic one, used to have about classical performing arts. And so they're not in there, they don't come to the theater because they want necessarily to listen to La Boheme. They're mostly come for an experience. And Ruth Hart is talking a lot about the outcome. So it's very much about selling this great experience. And so many things have changed, right? And those conferences have helped us really understanding these major changes, and all this knowledge is embedded in our tool because it's taking into consideration all these things.
Absolutely. And for instance, I will give everybody a free tip here. They can go use with ChatGPT, use the word customer centric and outcome focused if you want to prompt anything. But it doesn't say that our solution is then trained on all this thinking. So of course it gets it a lot easier. It merges all the data from your events and stuff like that. But it's so it's all of a sudden we actually have a promptless solution. I think I don't know if we coined the term, but it's promptless. So because we have the pre-knowledge about what you want to achieve, so you actually just click and get a copy for emails or SoMe. And we have customers who actually use our SoMe tool for all their posts because it's just so simple. and they have sort of gone into a more experimental thinking. What's our tone of voice? Let's just try some different posts and see what works best, and then we continue with those that work best. I actually had a meeting with a customer yesterday. She said, as long I can of course see the text, and as long as I think it's within scope, then I just post it, and then I see what happens. Because I cannot tell up front if it's going to work or not, as long as it's built on some principles of customer centricity at least. So that's really interesting, and that's just so hard also to do. Then should you sit and note it down in a spreadsheet or go into Meta Business Manager, good luck with that. And then you need full time for SoMe work at least. So there are so many things we are just taking from all these learnings and then making it bespoke for performing arts, because all those marketing is a discipline as such. They're also just things that we know and our customers know about what goes on here. And it's actually a strategy called sort of verticalization. Our tool is not a horizontal audience tool for running a football match, or we actually have museums as customers. It also works for museums, but that's visitor-based businesses. But it's not just for anything, but it's built in that it's these visitors, physical people come to attend an event. That's very different from many other products. That it's actually unique, and that's the beauty about performing arts. You bring people together. I think that's why people want to do it. That's why they work in arts organizations. They see the joy coming from people coming and experiencing. They're great shows. Normally the shows are great. That's not the problem. It's getting people to come and come back.
It's important for people to understand that behind such a tool, there is so much thinking, so much work, and so much strategic thinking. Obviously, it's not something you can develop from one day to another. It takes time, but thanks to our expertise and the fact that we are constantly in touch with the world of performing arts out there, this is so important. Also, we advocate that for our customers. Talk to your audience, get to understand what they want. It's simply because we do it in the first place. So we are also walking the talk. As you were saying, Jan, it's just a package for great tools that are going to save you time and are going to allow you to bet on the winning horse, as David Taylor says, right? So that you're not wasting too much time, even in this explorative process of trying to understand, because the audience out there is new. Nobody really knows them yet. Some studies are starting to come out, but it's not that we know everything. And every arts organization has their own sort of context and characteristics. So how do you get to know that in detail? You try. But one thing is to try without not knowing, without measuring. Another thing is trying with an educated guess and having data that backs you up all the time. This is our mission, but it simply comes from the passion, as you mentioned, Jan, and also Sune, the beauty of this industry, what it brings. It's so valuable. It has changed our lives in the first place. And we share this with our customers. We truly believe that saving the arts, the performing arts is possible. And it's not even that far away because technology is there. It's just a matter of deciding to adopting it. Yeah.
Can I add a little anecdote about my own mother? Interesting, because she was not destined to attend performing arts really. So very serious. The first opera she saw at the Danish Royal Theatre 5 years ago, and could say, wasn't it you, Jan? No, I did not. Of course, she knows her. My wife is an opera singer too, so it's not like that. But the funny thing is, she went and saw Shostakovich, The Nose. And she loved it. And it was also a beautiful staging, grotesque. This opera is grotesque, but it's a very long, very loud, very crazy opera. She just loved it. And I think she went on her own with the Danish Radio Symphony Orchestra and saw the Michelangelo songs by Shostakovich again. Very, very sort of, you would say, ooh, that's highbrow. That's for the really educated who have loved this for 30 years. No, and a retired woman can go and have her first experiences in the symphony, and because it is great art, she loves it, and she has become a multi-ticket buyer with the Danish Radio Symphony. Not that they have tried, I must say, but she has on her own wanted to buy more tickets and come back and saw other stuff.
What a customer journey.
Yeah, but that's interesting. And I know we always talk about getting the young, but I think this is an example of there are so many people out there that are unlikely, but you need to communicate with them. Then you get them.
Yeah,
absolutely true.
I also wanted to add a little thing about, I mentioned the word before, being an audience growth hacker. And growth hacking, as you know, is it's really a term that we have from the tech industry, and it's all about being willing to take a chance, to fail fast, to be able to say, okay, I take this opportunity to do something completely different and completely new, but be data driven about it, so I can measure every step of the way if I'm doing the right thing or if I'm not doing the right thing. The next step, of course, when I started to say, okay, this principle we can use as an industry, as the performing arts industry really needs to live by this, not being afraid of error, but also being data driven. But take it one step further, to be a community of audience growth hackers, because we cannot do this alone. We cannot, we cannot get the likes of Jan's mother into this theater unless we find fantastic strategies to make it happen. For her to discover Shostakovich, it's an amazing story in itself, but it's a testament, exactly as Jan says, that this is definitely possible. And if we share the best practices, if we share all these experience with each other in a very easy way, like you can on a platform like Artelize, you can just say, this experiments that I did, this has an amazing effect on our audience. Let's see if it couldn't help another orchestra, another opera house, another ballet company, or another jazz venue, or whatever it is. And just click the button, say share, and be generous with yourself and with your knowledge. That's the only way to get out of this. So be a community of audience growth hackers, but do it tomorrow or do it today. I mean, it is not too late, but don't wait for too long, because we are going down a slippery slope, and we need to stop it. We need to get it up the other way.
Absolutely. And I'm also thinking the performing arts in general are bringing people together, right? And that's how it all started with us too, because Sune and I met in a production of the Zauberflöte, and you and Jan were already in contact. And by the way, I know you're known in the area as the yin and yang of performing arts, or the dynamic duo.
Yin
Yeah,
and
now we're a
yang.
dynamic
Yes,
trio,
exactly.
yes.
Now it's a dynamic trio with a
Yeah.
female element in this, which
That's
is
good.
kind of okay, I would say, right? It's balancing. No, but that was amazing, guys. So first of all, I will propose another cheer.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can leave our audience with an encouragement for 2025.
Yeah.
First of all, I would like to give an encouragement to you two and say it was an amazing year. We had amazing experiences, a lot of laughters. We're probably going to post some I'm not going to tell you what, because it's going to be a surprise, but some fun stuff that have happened during this year on you.
As long as it does not involve FedEx, I'm happy.
Maybe. Yeah. And, but I can't wait to really start the new year with you guys. It's an incredible journey. The excitement, ups and downs, there are plenty of those as a real startup, really, I must say. But the beauty of it is that we're sticking together. We really believe in what we're doing. We have a lot of supporters. People come to us and thank us for what we are doing. They truly say, hey, guys, you are changing the industry. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep believing in it. Keep going on, because we need that. That is what needed to make that stir from to stir away from the slope. So please share with us your encouragement.
Well, I will encourage you to start doing something new. No new action, no new result. And ain't that the truth? I mean, if we just keep on doing the same, we will end up exactly the same place, or worse than where we are now. And I can only say, what we do, what we perform on stage, the art form that we are the guardians of, is too important to leave there. And it's too beautiful. There are too many people who needs to have this kind of experience. Like this beautiful story we had before, it's just a testament to how important is what we're doing. It's something that lights up the hearts of people from all ages, children to the gray hairs like me. And we also need to get the new generations in, and a more diverse audience in there. And the only way is to make it accessible for everyone and natural. And the only way is, again, to make it super clear and obvious that we're there so everybody can find us and find our events.
Thank you so much, Sune. And now Jan.
Yeah, on top of this, don't be so worried that it will go wrong, because first of all, just repeating, the things that goes on stage are top notch. It is professional people doing and having a very high standard. So it's just, even community orchestras make amazing performances, and they're all volunteers. There's a big experience to be had, maybe in areas where it's hard to. We had on the podcast, the chief conductor of the youth orchestras of Inner LA. It's a very long name.
Paola,
I Sola, yes, and it was actually interesting to hear. Yes, it's just providing so much value and beauty to those people, both playing in those orchestras and their families. So it is there, and to toot our own horn a little bit, work with Artelize. You will get integrations in the new year. You'll get full automation on your business side of running your organization. So don't hesitate either to use us for this transition. It's first of all a mental thing. It's a mental switch that we see is happening. Now just taking the last step into action and do something with us, with something else, without anything. Do something.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that actually allows me to give everybody an open invitation to our next webinar. We're going to kick off the new year with an incredible webinar packed with this kind of people, these people that are the forward thinkers and that are already stepping into the new approach. And that's why we have titled our webinar, The Retention Revolution. We're going to have Terrell Johnson from Chicago Philharmonic, Stefan Vollmann from Semper Robert Dresden, Dan Cooperman from Opera America, and Julie Nib from Music Tomorrow, to help us really navigate in the best possible way the new year so that we can boost the audience retention. I would say with ease and confidence, and why not a little bit less stress and more happiness, because ultimately success and results, it's all we are looking for. So and everybody's looking for that.
It's one little victory at the time. One little step at a time towards your goals. All it takes is to take the first step and then continue until you have that new retention rate of, instead of 10%, where 90% of all the audience goes away again, where it's up to 15%, 20%, 25%, and so on. That's where we're gonna go, because then our core is fine, and then we can start concentrating on getting that new audience in, the younger, the more diverse, that whole beautiful agenda there that is now like it's the most important in the world. Yes, it is important, but get the core straight as the very first thing. That is, and also a very important message to you guys out there.
And I want to end where I started. First of all, I'm happy that this gave some time to burn a little bit of the candle, because that was actually getting to be a problem. But can you see it has small steps? And we will end up burning the whole candle when we are done. It looks very not so promising now, but it accelerates. So it's just getting started, lighting it, attending some podcast recordings, and then it will get done.
Yeah.
And it's like a little bit the musician point of view, right? You get your technique sorted first, and then you have fun with interpretation. So get your tools sorted out, and then enjoy the process of talking and engaging and incentivizing your audience with all these different ways, because the audience is a very articulated. It's not just one entity. It's made of so many pieces, and it's beautiful to get to know them and to understand what's happening. So it's just to say that this is a beautiful and enjoyable process, and we are excited for that too. So thank you very much. We will wish everybody a Merry Christmas and an amazing Happy New Year. And of course, Artelize is going to be here supporting your efforts out there, but also making your journey pleasant. So we are looking forward to seeing you all at the webinar, and also stay tuned for the next episode of the Artelize podcast. Thank you again, Sune Hjerrild and Jan Pilgaard Carlsen, for joining me today.
Thank you, Paola. It was so nice. So much fun being here.
You were so coordinated.